All right, Braden. So just wanted to kind of show you what I'm doing here, so that way in the future, if this happens again, it's like I said, this stuff is very, very easy to deal with. What we're doing right now is, as you can kind of see, that's you weren't lying. That squirrel or rabbit or whatever critter decided to get after this, decided to puncture multiple holes in it. So what you're going to end up doing is you're going to kind of pull back the line a little bit just to kind of make sure that there's no damages anywhere else on the drip hose. You're going to need drip line itself. I always do recommend to pick it up from irrigation supply house. You can buy everything there. You don't have to be a licensed individual to go pick this up, but that way you're getting exactly what we put in the ground. They do sell the drip line at Home Depot or Lowe's or Ace Hardware. But again, you could buy it in bulk at which again, I would only say they sell it in rolls of 50, 100, 250, and 500. You'd really only need 50 feet of it just to kind of do minor repairs around the property. But again, this stuff is great. It's just make sure you're getting what's called the 912 specifications. It is just the type of how much water is actually coming out of the emitter and the distance of the emitter themselves, how far you have them apart. So that's 12 inches apart, and it's 0.9 gallons per hour coming out of each emitter. The other thing that you're going to need are some couplings, and again, these are sold at the actual irrigation supply house. You can buy them in the bags. I think it's bags of 25, and they're relatively inexpensive to get them. And these things are going to be your best friend when it comes to repairing them. They have like 90s and T's as well. Let's see if I got a 90 in here. Here we go. So they have 90s and T's. And did that in there, the 90s T's, and then they got the straight couplers, and these are what you're going to use for your repairs like these. These are more or less the best application for these are if you're going to add more drip line to the property, or if they chewed on a line where a T, it's in the middle of a T and you wanted to add more drip line, or they might have damaged something else by the right on the coupler where there's a T connected. You'll need these, but I would say just your drip line and your straight couplers, those are going to do the best thing for you to get it taken care of. So let's go ahead and jump into it. Again, what you're going to do is you're going to kind of cut back. You're going to find the area that was damaged. You're going to cut back a little bit. So they sell these as well. They're called quick cutters. They're pretty decent, especially for the job with drip. They make drip real easy to cut through, as you'll notice, and you just kind of put it up there and cut it right through. Then what you're going to end up doing is you'll take this end of it. You're going to need 2 of these straight couplers, and you're going to push that in. Now it's got a barbed end of it, and you kind of want to just kind of wiggle it back and forth until you get it over that first barb, and then it usually goes in pretty easy. And again, all you're going to do is just kind of shimmy it back and forth to really kind of get it inside there. You're going to cut the other end where the other end of it is right here. So kind of as we see right here, they got it, all of that line's been cut and damaged. So we want to cut back a little bit just to make sure it's not any more damaged any further back, and make sure you don't cut into an emitter, which we're right next to it. Got lucky on that one. And then we're going to pull out a little bit of this drip tubing here. So again, we don't necessarily need a line that has an emitter in it, so we kind of want to cut back a little bit here just to be able to let's see, hold on a second, there we go. So let's cut this one off. This one looks a little bit better. So we're going to cut from right here next to that emitter, and then we're going to cut off this emitter too, which should be plenty of room. Maybe need to add that emitter into it. You do want to kind of cut off a little bit more than is needed just to kind of measure. So you can see we got that measured out there, and it's okay if you get a emitter in there. You're usually pretty close to one anyway, so it's not going to hurt the application process of that water. And again, you're just going to shimmy that in there, and then you can kind of measure it to match how much you need to cut off here. And again, with these, you want to get pretty close to it, if not exact. Just because, hold on, somebody's calling me real quick. So with that being said, you don't want to cut too short, cut it too long, because you do want these barbs to fit into it. And you don't want if you cut it too long, it'll cause it to kind of raise itself up, leaving it prone to being chewed on by the culprit, whatever rabbit or squirrel or whatever might have gotten into it. So again, you just kind of put a little bit of pressure on it, kind of wiggle it back and forth. Once you get it in there, grab the other side, and you're going to do the same. Just kind of push that in there like so. And just like that, move the shrubs back around it. Kind of cut back a little bit, pull back some of this mulch. Because again, the reason why he was able to chew on it is because it was probably slightly visible. He was able to kind of search that out. But again, we want to come in here. If you have any of these fabric pins that are sticking near it, just kind of push it back in there. And again, take some of that mulch and just kind of cover the area again. Keep it concealed. And just like that, you're done.